Hi everyone, my name is Christina and I'm an implementation consultant at Prosymmetry. In this video, I'm going to be reviewing the roadmap management tile in Tempus. So we'll take a look at the roadmap configuration and then an example of a roadmap. To start, let's discuss what roadmaps are in Tempus. This report is popular with product management teams or teams that use agile methodologies to manage projects because it allows you to create a Gantt chart view of your portfolio, but keeping the focus on resource management and how the roadmap is affecting capacity. It will also allow you to identify risks that you define relating to overallocation in your roadmap, concurrency risks, and progress risks. In Tempus, you can build custom roadmaps based on your attributes, identify portfolio risks like those overallocation and concurrency risks, and configure those thresholds. You can view progress of a project based on actual hours. You can view milestones and also create roadmap-specific milestones. And lastly, you can also share roadmaps with other Tempus users. Let's now look at some basic navigation and configuration of a roadmap. When I click on the Roadmap Management tile, I will see a list of roadmaps I have created previously or ones that have been shared with me. Let's start by clicking into the pencil icon on this portfolio roadmap I have built to take a look at the configuration screen to see where I set up the parameters of my roadmap and how I wanted things to be organized for me. So when I click the pencil icon, I'll be brought to this setup screen of my roadmap. So when you create your own roadmaps, first you will give your roadmap a title. So mine is just called Portfolio Roadmap. You can give it a theme, which just means picking a color to associate with your roadmap. And then, of course, you can give it a description if you wish. Then you'll be going down to this display panel. The first thing you'll do is choose how you want to group your projects in your roadmap. You can organize and group your projects using up to 3 different grouping levels, but at least one is required. You can choose to group your projects by either project or resource attributes, and specifically any of the attributes that are either selection type attributes, text attributes, or string value attributes. So here I've chosen to group my projects by portfolio first as the first grouping, and then by project priority. The next setting is choosing your data order. So I can choose here whether I want the data in my portfolio roadmap to be ordered in by start date or name in ascending or descending order. Then I can choose the default time granularity or period that I want to appear in my roadmap. So I have selected the month default period, but I can change it when I'm in my roadmap. Next, I can choose dynamic project inclusion. So what this means is, how do you want your projects to be included in your roadmap? Do you want any new projects that are created to be included in this roadmap? If so, you'll want to select either the allocation, demand, or dataset preference options. That way, anytime a new project is created within either your allocation or demand dataset that fits into the requirements of this roadmap, it will automatically flow into this roadmap. Once you do have this turned on by selecting one of these 3 options, you will not be able to select projects manually in the project panel below. If you do choose to select none here, that means that you will be able to manually select projects in this panel, which we'll get to in just a moment. Next, you have this unselected projects plan type. What this is referring to is working with the risks that you can view in your roadmap. So you can choose where you might want that data or which data set to be pulled from. If you kept the project unselected below in the project panel and it's not part of the roadmap, you can choose to have those projects considered as far as your over allocation and concurrency risks. And here's where you choose which data set that comes from. Next, you can choose to show project milestones. So you can choose to automatically include those milestones that you've set up for your projects. You can also choose to turn on whether you want to show progress. So what this is referring to is the progress risk that you can view in your roadmap. So if you're tracking actual hours worked in Tempus, you can choose here to show the progress risk in your roadmap that will take your actual hours divided by your planned hours for each project and give you the percentage completed. Next, you can choose whether you want to include demand planning resources in your roadmap when you're viewing those portfolio risks, so you can toggle that on or off. Next, you can define the overallocation and concurrency risk thresholds that will be presented in your roadmap. So you'll choose to set the percent threshold for your overallocation that would show a risk to your portfolio if someone is above the threshold here. And then you can choose the number of projects someone would need to be on to present a concurrency risk if they are above 5 projects in this case. Next, you can choose to determine for these name fields how you want the name of the project to appear in the roadmap, and if you want to include any other fields on the Gantt bar. So here I've chosen to display my project name as well as the current phase of that project on the Gantt bar itself. And then finally, you can choose how you want to separate those kinds of fields on the Gantt bar, and I've chosen a dash here. Next, we have the permissions panel. This is where you can decide who you want to share this roadmap with, if anyone. So you can select view permissions as well as edit permissions, and you can get as granular as individual named resources here, or you can designate permissions by global roles for both view and edit access. Next, you have this colors panel. This is where you can choose the colors to represent your second level of grouping. In this case, project priority. These are the colors that will display. And then we have our milestones panel. This is where you can create those roadmap specific milestones that are relevant to maybe your entire portfolio. So for example, I have a roadmap milestone created out here called new planning period. That's specific to my entire portfolio that I want to show as an important marker in my roadmap. And then lastly, in the configurations panel, you have this project panel. So this is your list of projects. Here's where you can choose the dates the roadmap will display. I can also use this quick date picker for easy date selection. If you have dynamic inclusion on at the top here, these projects will be automatically selected for you and grayed out. But you can also, even if you do have that turned on, you can use the filters here to filter out certain projects or resources. If you have none selected for dynamic project inclusion, you would be able to manually select the projects here that you want to include. Once these selections are made in all of these panels in the configurations screen, and they can be edited if you need to, you have your roadmap. Let's take a look now at how this all came together in my roadmap. Here is a portfolio roadmap showing me my projects grouped by portfolio on the left. And within each group, I have my projects grouped by high, medium, and low priority groups showing the colors that I chose in my configurations panel. The Gantt bars on the right are showing me the projects in each group over the months I have selected in my configurations panel. I'm also seeing these different markers showing me today, as well as that roadmap specific milestone I established for that new planning period beginning on the 1st of December. Another thing I can see in my roadmap is any project dependencies that I have set up and defined with this indicator here between these two projects. So I can see that represented in my roadmap as well. If I click the gear icon in the top right-hand corner, this is where I can turn on the different features to get the most value out of this roadmap. So first I can elect to toggle on any project milestones, and if I click update, I can see where any project milestones I have set up in an individual project, those will appear here. Next, I can choose to turn on this over allocation risk. You can only have one risk toggled on at a time, but if I do have the overallocation risk turned on, this is going to show me where in my project roadmap I have risks of overallocation. So all of the shaded areas in my portfolio show me where that risk is present. If I click into one of those shaded areas, I can see who in that month are the top 5 most overallocated resources. Again, this is a test environment, so I have a lot of overallocation here, but this is a really helpful view to see where those risks might be present in my portfolio so I can work proactively to mitigate that overallocation risk. Next, I can toggle on the concurrency risks. So if I click update, I will see, again, any shaded areas here is where that concurrency risk in this case might be present in my overall project portfolio. So if I click the shaded area, I can drill down into that month and see where that risk is present. So in this case, Nicola is showing the concurrency risk because she is assigned to 6 projects, and the threshold that I set up in my configurations was 5 projects, and anyone over that would be presenting as a risk. Next, I can turn on the progress risk. So again, this is a test environment, so I don't have a ton of actuals data in here, but we can see a couple of projects where I'm seeing 7% completed and compared to 2% completed here. So what that's doing is it's taking any actual hours worked that I have logged in the system and dividing that by the planned allocation set up for that project and giving me that percentage completed. So what that might tell me is, based on the duration of my project, should I be further along as far as the percent completed, and is that a risk to my portfolio? A couple of other options I can turn on with this gear icon is showing the end date of my project. So that would appear here in the Gantt bars. And I can also choose to sort my projects by name or start date in ascending or descending order here. This wraps up roadmap management in Tempus. Again, this is a great tool to get a holistic view of your project portfolio and proactively identify any risks or roadblocks that will keep you from achieving your goals. I would encourage you to take a look at the Help Center section on this feature as well as an additional resource. Thanks and have a great day.